There are lots of ways that we can use technology in our classrooms. And let's be honest, some of those ways are kind of forgettable. It could be really easy to just replace something that we do in our classrooms with a techie version of it and be like, oh, I checked the technology box, we're good. But when we start to incorporate sort of like making class into an experience, making it into something that students are really going to remember, technology can amplify it and boost it up to a whole new level. And that's really what we're going to be talking about in this video. We've got how to create unforgettable techie learning. That's really what this video is all about. And so I want to welcome you to this video. If you're watching this on the replay, we're so glad that you found it. If you're watching it live, we would love to hear from you in the comments. So please do check in. Make sure you tell us your name, where you are, and what you do. And we're going to be shouting you out here in just a second. My name's Matt Miller. I'm the author of Ditch That Textbook and the newly published Tech Like a Pirate. Now, notice this is a piece of paper because as of the recording of this video, it's been about a week since it's released. I still don't have a copy of it. Still don't have a copy in my hands, but hey, that happens sometimes. So
took me a month to get Microsoft Infused Classroom.
Oh, it's killer, isn't it?
Everyone was showing it and being like, I have it. And I'm like,
Yep. So. That's exactly where I am right now. So, Holly, do you want to give a quick introduction? Say hello.
Oh, hi, everyone. Holly from San Diego, Infused Classroom. And this is my favorite part, seeing where all the people are coming from.
Yes, absolutely. So we're going to start throwing some of those on the screen. Hello to Kathy in Ohio. Les is here from Southern California. Good to see Les again. Carla is here. Hello, Carla. Dalton is here from North Carolina. Glad to see you again. Carla from Bowie, Maryland. Is that the same Carla? I think that's I think that's the same Carla. So we've got another Carla. It's the day of Carlas from Grand Forks, North Dakota. So good to see all of the Carlas here. My dad is here. Jeff Miller from West Central Indiana. Hey, Dad. Katie Short from Ottawa, Ontario. So it's good to see Katie again. She says The Price is Right is the best. I was just tweeting about watching The Price is Right with my kids and how it reminded me of when I was homesick from school and I would always watch The Price is Right. So yeah. Anyway, that's me. Jen is here from Portland, Oregon. There's Monica Spillman wrapping up this week.
She wasn't here on Monday. I noticed her not here. So welcome back.
Yep, absolutely. Connie is here from Southern California. Good to see you. Melanie Claybar from Orange, Texas. Y'all are my new obsession, and I got both books this week. Yay, love it. Thank you. Josh was here from Ohio. Again, good to see him again. There's Kim from North Carolina. She says my copy's being delivered tomorrow.
Hey, by the way,
good to see her.
I can tell you as an author, if you get your copy and you go to Amazon and you leave a review, we love that. But if you can leave like a video review, those are the best. So I know Matt would love that. I'm going to do it when I get mine.
Yes, would totally love that. So I'm going to hustle through some more of these real quick. There's Justine. We've got Carrie. Crystal's here. Jill is here. Julie is here. There's Aaron and Jamie and Catalina and Janice. We've got Elma and Heidi and Terry. Those are the ones that have checked in. It's so good to see all of you. This is fantastic. And so, unforgettable techie learning is kind of the focus of this video. And so let's jump right into it. So it has to do, like I said earlier, about this book, Tech Like a Pirate. And if you're watching this and you're not totally sure about this whole pirate thing, let me kind of give you the backstory of where that came from. It really started when I read Dave Burgess's book, Teach Like a Pirate, about 7 years ago. And there was this one line that really just stuck with me, just rung in my ears over and over again. He said, don't just teach a lesson, create an experience. And I just kept thinking about that over and over and over again. I want to create an experience in my class. I want kids to remember what they're doing. And so all of my experiences that I kept thinking of, all of these learning experiences seem to have to do with technology. And I kept thinking, oh, this lesson could be cooler if we did this one thing in this one app. Oh, we could totally do this on our Chromebooks. Oh, iPads would be perfect for this. And so all of these ideas were kind of infused with technology. Holly likes when we infuse things, right?
Yeah.
See? And so it was all just infused with technology. It wasn't about the technology, but it was infused. And so little by little by little over time, I kept brainstorming more and more of these ideas. And over the last 7 years, all of these brainstorms have turned into this book, Tech Like a Pirate. And so the central question of Tech Like a Pirate is this: can technology help us make class an experience and boost learning? And I think the answer to that is a resounding yes. And that's really what the book strives to show you through practical examples and big picture ideas and lists of tools and just all sorts of good stuff. And it's all focused around these. Well, I'm going to give you 8. In the book, there's actually 7, but there's kind of a bonus one that you can get either by, just listening to this video or by going to the Tech Like a Pirate resources page, which I'll have at the bottom of the slides the whole time too, which is at techlikeapirate.com. But there are these 8 ways to tech like a pirate that help us make an experience out of this techie learning. And one is social media and apps. Then you've got video, games, collaboration, images, exploration, global communication. And then the 8th one, which is the one that's not in the book, but you can still get, is storytelling. In fact, if you want to read that 8th one, I have that 8th chapter that didn't make the book available on that resources page down at the bottom at techlikeapirate.com. So feel free to go check that out. So, right. So here's what Holly and I are going to do. We're going to be talking about a bunch of these over 2 different live videos. And this first one, we're going to talk about the first 3, about social media and apps, and about video, and about games. But before we jump into this, Holly, I wanted to ask you real quick. To you, do you think that creating an engaging experience around learning, is that all just sort of like fluffy, unimportant stuff, or does it like actually have real meaning in learning?
Well, it has real meaning in learning because it's what you experience that you remember. It's like when you go on a plane and you get off in Paris and you're so excited. That is when you remember and take things with you. And that's why kids go to Washington, D.C. every year for the experience. So that's what you're just recreating. So yes.
Absolutely. And actually, I'd like to throw this out to anybody that's watching this live. If you've got a take on that too, like, is it worth your time and effort to make something into an experience, to make it memorable, to make it something that kids will want to talk about afterwards? Is that important? If you've got a take on that, throw that into the comments, and we want to start putting some of those up on the screen as we go.
Matt, can I just tell you a really quick example?
Yes, please.
Maybe like my 3rd year of teaching, I went to the school and I had the kids do a trial about Julius Caesar, and whether or not he should be on trial. So they did a trial and the kids did everything or whatever. And one was Brutus. Actually, Brutus was on trial. I can't remember now, but
okay. Yeah.
But anyway, so we did that in September. And in May, 2 of my favorite kids got in a fight and got suspended. And I was like, oh my God, what happened? Like not Jesse and, I can't even remember their names now because it was 1999 probably. And so the principal came to me and he's like, I don't know, like what happened? We can't figure it out. They were getting in a fight over something about Julius Caesar. And I was like, wait, all the way in May, they were still worked up about this Julius Caesar trial that we had done in September. And like, I closed my blinds and I was like, I can't let anyone see this, but yes, you know what I mean? Like they still remembered it. And they were still so mad about the arguments that they had that May came along and they had gotten in a fight, which is bad. I'm not saying that's good, but that's an experience, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they were still talking about that, thinking about it, even arguing about it all the way back in May. It's like, wow, that makes a huge difference. We've gotten a couple of good comments in about this. Kathy says, students really remember experiences that have emotional ties. Yes. In fact, in the book, I quote a neuroscience study that says that experiences that have a strong emotional tie have what they call a privileged status in memory. So of course, these can be very, positive and negative emotions, but whenever there's emotions tied to it, it holds a privileged status in memory. So Joshua says, I read a book called The Power of Moments. So I'm all about this live. It's like remote learning about that book. Yes, that's exactly what we're going for. Totally love that. Jamie says, I totally agree. Emotional connections tied to experiences. And then Les says, my kids did podcasts on Julius Caesar. Holly, Podcasts on Julius Caesar. We did a podcast in class to showcase the kids' work. My current 10th graders brought it up to me that they wanted to do something like that this year. So there you go. Experiences, podcasts, Julius Caesar. Hey, it's all coming together, isn't it? So, all right. Well, let's dive right into this. And again, like I've said several times, if you're watching this live, please do throw out any ideas that you have, any suggestions, any tips, because we're going to be touching on the first 3 of these in this video. And if you've got any ideas or something you've tried or something that you makes you go, I bet that would be pretty cool, but you've never actually tried it, put it into the comments. And we want to just make this a huge, big brainstorm between the 2 of us and you. So let's jump into the first one, social media and apps. And here's the idea behind this one, is that so many of us use social media. And when there's so many people involved in it, there's got to be a reason that it gets so popular, that so many people want to use it. And when you look into various different social media, you start to see those hooks. You start to see the things that really engage people. And so whenever we start to find that little piece of engagement, that thing that really makes social media interesting and juicy, can we infuse, I'm infusing again, Holly.
I know, I love it.
Can we infuse that into a lesson and kind of breathe life into it or help students to see it a little bit differently? I'll give a real fast, quick example. This is one that I started doing a long time ago. I created a template that students could use. This is the kind of template you could do in PowerPoint or in Google Slides. And I made it look like a tweet on Twitter. And so I made it so that they would respond in the form of a tweet for someone else. So we would replace the little profile picture and the person's name, and then they would type their text into the tweet. And that was how they responded to the prompt. It wasn't write 3 sentences about this. It was tweet for this person. If this person had a Twitter account and they were going to tweet, what would they say? And that's one little way to pull in one of those hooks to social media. So if you're watching this and you have other ideas related to this whole social media hook, ways that you can pull in the ideas that make social media so juicy, we want to definitely hear them. But Holly, when it comes to this, where does your mind go?
My mind goes to Brutus and Julius Caesar again, because we're talking about him. Can you imagine kids tweeting out like Brutus is trying to get people like, on his side, and Julius Caesar's, and people are like, don't go to the thing today, because, like that's the good stuff. And if you can take the learning that you have just done and put it into 280 characters and tell a story of what's about to happen, retell. It's amazing, man. I'm loving this. And I have done this kind of stuff with kids and they love it. Love.
Now, let's even take that example, that example from Julius Caesar, another couple different directions, because there's 2 more of them that I can think of off the top of my head. One of them is Periscope, live video. Imagine if back in those days, this was all going down in Julius Caesar, and Caesar was being betrayed and he gets stabbed, and it was all being captured on live video. Okay, so stabbing someone on live video, that may not, I'm trying to do this.
It happens every day right now. So, I mean, like what happens, you can go Newsway, but anyway, you're saying.
But with any of that, like let's say students are recording a video response on a tool like Flipgrid. And a lot of times you do Flipgrids as, head and shoulders video directly to camera, just like we're doing right now. But instead, what if they recorded that Flipgrid video as if it were a live stream on Periscope or YouTube Live or something? That's one. And then I'll give you another one too. What about Instagram stories? Instagram stories are told through images and short video clips. What if students recalled what happened in that scene from Julius Caesar as a set of video clips and images, and they've made an Instagram story for that whole event?
So I want to tell you really quickly, Matt, I did this Twitter, but I actually used Twitter, and I was like, kids, don't tell anybody. And I'm glad I never got fired for it, but because it was like 2012 and I knew no one was on it. So no teacher would see it and the principal would never see it because they weren't on it. But I had the kids tweet their way through The Outsiders. And I said, okay, you're going to tweet as if you're Pony Boy. So when something happens, you got to be like tweet with the hashtag. And our hashtag was our room number. But I had a kid who came up to me and they had gotten like 250 likes or whatever. And they were like, he said to me, I didn't think that people liked me. And like, it wasn't even about him. It was about Pony Boy, but like it gave him this like reassurance. And it was such a beautiful thing to see.
That's cool. That's so cool. We're getting some good comments in here. Jamie just said, I love the social media templates, Twitter, Instagram, all of them. So fun. I used the Twitter template when I was teaching teachers to use Twitter. That's an easy way to kind of practice. Very low stakes. I love that. Dalton says, when I use social media templates or ideas with math problems, my students are so much more engaged. Ooh, with math. I love this. They describe their steps for solving and go beyond just giving the answer. Totally. Really love this. Julie says, I'm really interested in infusing the Danish style of collaborative EDU LARP, live action role playing into distance learning, live story creation, looking for connections. I am fascinated by this.
Me too.
That's cool. Holly, I think this one's for you.
Yay.
Love it. Tweet your way through the book. Awesome idea. And then Melanie says, one of my guilty pleasures is Twitter fights or beefs. So you could have students recreate these for literary characters, like a back and forth type of thing.
Tweets like for those people. And I will tell you, early on, we tweeted our way through I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings. And before she left this earth, Maya Angelou tweeted back to us. And that was the biggest thrill of my life.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. No, I totally love that. I want to show you, before we move on real quick, I wanted to show you a quick blog post. And this post has to do with social media inspired hooks. So this is something that I wrote a little ways back in February. So I looked at a bunch of different social media. And I told Holly earlier, I'm using the term social media very loosely here, and what the hook is. And so if we look at these different social media, we might think, oh, there's a hook that I can use in a certain activity. So for instance, if you're doing text messaging or WhatsApp, it's about instant communication. And of course, a Google Doc can do instant communication, or dropping a question into Google Classroom, that does something similar. Instagram, the hook is communicating with images. So maybe we go to insert an image into a slide or a PowerPoint, or even using Adobe Spark Post or Canva, these image creation tools to add text and other fun elements to our student photos. I just talked about Instagram stories. We just talked about Twitter too. And this was one that I think Melanie was just talking about, was the tweet threads. This could be somebody making a thread of their own where they have multiple tweets about a bigger idea, or it could be a thread where people are going back and forth. TikTok is obviously about quick creative videos, and we've got lots of ways that we can make creative videos. I mean, it could go on and on. There's another live video one. I've even got one for Reddit, because Reddit is really good with nested conversations where you reply to a specific part and you can see who's talking about what. Oh my goodness, did I put Tinder on there?
Now listen, can you imagine a Tinder profile that you have to make for Julius Caesar so that people won't swipe right or left? I don't know which way it is. I'm not on the app, but I think we want them to swipe right. I think that's it. I can't remember.
Yeah.
But like, how cool would that be, that you have to communicate? Well, he's not really a monster, but let's say even like a bad person in history. How could you zhuzh him up? And you know what I mean?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. With this one, I was even talking about, you put a picture on a slide and then you just have a little icon that you drag on there. And one of them is like pointing one way and one's pointing the other way. And that could stand for swipe left or swipe right.
Yeah.
And, that's obviously not saying like, I think this person's hot or anything. It's more like, this is good, this is bad, so. Yeah. So that could totally work. Anyway, there's a whole bunch of ideas on that. That's on the Ditch That Textbook blog, ditchthattextbook.com/blog.
Right now, this is what they're looking for. Like, if you're wondering how to motivate kids, bring in one of these, especially middle school and high school.
Yeah, totally. Absolutely. So let's go on to the next one real quick, unless we've got something in the comments to share. I want to share this one real quick from Terry. She says, we're using the TikTok template for students to demonstrate what they've learned while remote learning. And the TikTok template is just a PowerPoint or a Google Slides, and it's a place for you to stick a video. And when you stick that video inside of that little cell phone style frame, it makes it look like it's in TikTok. That's really all that it is. And so that could be cool too. And then Mohammed says, I ask my students to make and develop their own portfolio on Class Dojo. That's cool too.
Oh, great.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's move on to video, because, you know, we were talking about TikTok a little bit earlier and live video and everything. You know, there is something about video. There's been talk for a while that video is going to consume like the vast majority of internet traffic sometime in the near future. So the easier that video gets, the more that people seem to use it. I mean, we're using live video right now. If you're watching this on the replay, you know, YouTube is still the second biggest search engine in the world. So there's definitely something to using video. And Holly, I know, you know, I think that's really the popularity of some of these video tools that we see so much in the classroom. You know, your Flipgrids and your Adobe Spark Video and everything. What do you think the draw is on using video when we do lessons?
Well, I would like to think it's the press record portion of it, because,
of course,
yeah, because you can get a student thinking and understanding and really hear that, and they have to articulate it. And I think that's the importance of it. Also, the ease now. When I first started doing video with kids in class, like I would get some crazy stuff, but now because video, like Adobe Spark Video has templates, it makes it really easy.
Mm-hmm. Yep. No, I totally agree. And so, like I was saying earlier, a lot of times we do these videos and they're the head and shoulders, straight to camera type of videos. And I think that we can put sort of a unique twist on them in a very easy way by just asking ourselves this one question. What's the lens we can see this activity through? And really, that's what we were doing in the social media part too. And this is really sort of an ongoing theme throughout the Tech Like a Pirate book, is what's the lens we can see this activity through. Earlier, we were looking at these activities through the lens of social media. So it's like, how can we look at this activity as if? Those are the two big words, as if. How can we look at it as if it was done through social media? So now let's ask another question. What are some of the lenses that we can look at our video activities through? So a couple of the examples I love to share are, what if we recorded a video as if we were a news anchor? So we're reporting on the day's events as if they just happened instead of like we read them out of a history book. Or what if we recorded it as if, I said earlier, as if we were recording it for, live streaming video on like Periscope or something. Yeah. Where does your mind go on this one, Holly? And by the way, if you're watching this live, we would love to see your thoughts on like, what are some of these lenses that we can look at to see video activities differently?
So I used to do Flipgrid again with the outsiders, where I would give the kid again, like your pony boy, your Johnny, and this just happened. Based on what you know about the characteristics and understanding of who this person is right now in the book, how would they respond to this? And you have to be able to tell me how they would, like, it might even be, I want to go surfing. How would they respond? And I don't know if I would do that with the outsiders, but I'm trying to get at higher level thinking by not asking, what do you think of Tulsa? Like, how would Pony Boy respond to a different situations, a unique and novel situation, so I can get transfer of knowledge. And that's one of my favorite things to watch.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Katie says, remote learning has emphasized how, and I think this is so important when it comes to video too, how body language and tone of voice enhances the message. Video allows students to practice these important skills. And we're seeing that on the video calls that we're doing. And if you have students recording videos on a tool like Flipgrid or Screencastify or any of those, video creation tools, this is where we start to see those things. So I thought that was a really good point. And then what were you going to say, Holly?
Oh, thanks. I was just going to say, I also learned this technique from a friend named Jim Sill, the 4-shot video, which I used to be like, make a video. And then I would, the constraints were there, the creative constraints, and tell me the story in 4 shots really gives kids a way to like, okay, I can do 4 shots. And so I love that idea too.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I totally love that too. Let me tell you about a couple of other let's do a couple of other lenses when it comes to video. So I want to pop up another post that I wrote. See, I've already been thinking about this stuff a lot. So this post is 8 YouTube inspired classroom video ideas. And so basically what I did with this one was I looked through at, well, I didn't like actually one day look through at YouTube videos, but I thought back through the kinds of YouTube videos that I've watched. And there are definitely some specific kinds of videos that you see pop up over and over again. And I thought, well, hey, if they're popular on YouTube anyway, maybe we can sort of hijack them for educational gain. You know, like if we can repurpose them into a classroom setting, maybe they can make for really cool videos. And this first one, after I published this first one is one that I've seen some people share on social media that they're doing with some success, and that's an unboxing video. So if you think about it, let's see. I've got
That's
a
like
box.
A social influencer thing, right?
Say that again. Sorry.
Isn't that like the social influencer thing where they get a box and they tell you what's in it?
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah. So it's like this, you know, I've got this USB music interface thing that I'm going to return to somebody, but I have the box right here on my desk. And so I could start out and have this box, and it could be for an actual thing, or it could be a box of items sent to you from somebody else. I saw someone tweet an example of how they had students send themselves a box from the past or a box from the future. Oh. And so, right? Isn't that cool? So it's like, you know, 5 years in the past or 10 years in the future, what would they send themselves? And so they start opening up this box. And of course, they have to write themselves a little note. And so they take the note out and they read it and they react to it. And then they start pulling things out of the box. And so, you know, in a regular unboxing video, they open it up and there's nothing in this one, but, you know, they start to pull the different things out of it and they talk about them with everything that they take out. So I thought, wouldn't that be a cool kind of video to make? And again, that's just another lens that you can look at your activity through. The assignment can still be sort of the same, but when you ask students to do it as if they were doing an unboxing video, it kind of changes the game a little bit, I think.
Well, and then you could unbox a video or do a video of an unboxing you found from the Civil War. What would be in there?
Mm-hmm. You know?
Yes. And it's found in Alabama, what's in there, and it's found in Massachusetts, what's in there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah, absolutely. I wanted to share a couple of these comments that are coming in. Jamie talks about using Ghost Synth with third graders reading the story Balto to pretend that they were interviewing people in the story. Such an easy way to create a podcast. That's cool. And Synth is this really great free audio tool. It kind of feels like a podcast, but you can also respond to people with audio, which is really neat. Julie talks about interactive and 360 video stories. Interesting. So yeah, that's definitely a possibility we could use.
I love those.
Mm-hmm. Monica says, if we find ourselves doing this again in the fall, I'm sure that video will be the #1 way to communicate with kids and families and teach in bite-sized pieces. Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Les says, I have kids choose between audio journals or written journals. The majority of the kids are doing audio recordings over the written journals, which is neat. And, you know, I think this sort of reflects a trend that I'm hearing of more and more, that voice is growing. You know, we've got podcasts which continue to grow and grow and grow and grow steadily in popularity. And then we've also got our smart devices, you know, our Alexa and our Google Homes and everything. And so, you know, as voice becomes more and more popular, this is something that people are more, and Holly, don't you think that people are more comfortable talking to their devices now than they were before?
Oh, I can only speak for me. And Alexa and I have conversations sometimes, not on purpose, but she'll be like, and thank you for this. And I'll be like, you're welcome. Oh, well, you have a nice day. And I'm like, whoa, you're getting smarter.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, that's funny. Dalton says, instead of having them just talk about organelles, there was another one. Learn about cell organelles in 7th grade science. And instead of just having them talk about the organelles, they create videos taking on the role of an organelle, applying for a job with a plant or animal cells.
I have the teacher I work with right now. We did cells this year. I hope she's watching.
Yes. Oh, I totally love that. Julie likes the box idea. And so, Elma, like a video time capsule. How about that? It's like opening up a time capsule. That's kind of like an unboxing video too, right? Connie says, I had students unbox Pandora's box while they were studying myths and legends. They had to create bad stuff in the box. That's an interesting one. So my goodness, lots and lots of possibilities when it comes to this. So Holly, any last thoughts as we wrap up this video part?
Well, earlier in another video, we talked about the bento box for reading and how kids would put together those 5 things. That's a box. Unbox that in a video. So
yes, totally. All right, so we're going to wrap this one up real quick with games. And I know lots and lots of people are big on gamification, and some people will gamify their class with a big game theme from like start to finish. And that's a wonderful way to bring elements of games into class. But I think you can also look at some of the popular games that are out there and figure out what the hook is in it, and then utilize that hook even in an individual activity. And so there are, there's all sorts of possibility when it comes to games. You've got your board games, you've got mobile app games that you can play. I think it could even go down to retail rewards programs like Starbucks Stars, for example. I gotta tell you something. I'm not even that much of a fan of Starbucks coffee, but whenever I have a gift certificate or a gift card or something to Starbucks, or if I'm buying Starbucks, I'm usually doing it because I know I'm accumulating stars. And so I'll be able to get free drinks later or merchandise or free coffee or something, there's something to that. And people keep coming back because of a great rewards program. What if your class included some sort of rewards program kind of like that? So lots of possibilities when it comes to that. Holly, any thoughts on games and bringing game elements into the classroom that come to mind for you?
Yep, simulations. So that Julius Caesar thing that I did was from a thing called Interact. And I used Interact a lot. I don't know if anyone else on this chat has used them, but I did it for kids had to build ziggurats when we were learning about Mesopotamia. And it's good stuff. It gets them engaged and they remember it because now they're 30 and they talk to me about it, still.
Right. Exactly. Years ago, when Clash of Clans was starting to get really popular, I noticed a lot of my kids were playing it. And so I started looking into what is it about Clash of Clans that gets them interested. And the idea behind it is that you build up your clan by creating new warriors inside of it, and you build up your fortress and your city and everything. You've got to collect gold and elixir to be able to buy things. So really, it was about, the competition between rival clans, but B, it was really about building up your empire, so to speak, and spending your gold and your elixir to buy things. And so I started thinking, what if we created a game where you tried to build an empire, so to speak, and you did it out of the gold that you earned? And so I created this game. This was one where the technology inspired a game that we actually did in the classroom, and we called it the Ultimate Bedroom Makeover. And so, since a lot of my students, their bedroom was like their home base, it was like their personal piece of real estate. I had all of these items that they could buy for their bedroom. And then on the whiteboard, we just made a big rectangle, and that was their bedroom. And so as they answered questions, they were collecting points, and they could redeem the points for things that they would put in their bedroom. And so then they would draw it into their bedroom. And at the end, we had a vote for who had the best bedroom. And it worked. It wasn't anything big and fancy and over the top, but it drew on that hook that Clash of Clans had, and the kids totally ate it up. So that was a lot of fun.
Julie in the comments talks about the World Peace Simulation game, which I did with 5th graders, and it was the best. So nice. Stuff like that. And those are easy to find online and learn about.
Yep, absolutely. Patricia says, my kids love GimKit, and we've been doing focus standards review with GimKit and Google Meet. If you're not familiar with GimKit, it is kind of like a game show style review game where you ask questions and students respond. And as they get questions right, they collect points. and then they can spend those points in the store for different power-ups that they can use throughout the game, which is so much fun.
Or they can block other kids. That's I would have done that.
Yeah, yep, right, exactly. Students with permission to participate in Meet minimize the Meet screen, and then they can play the game and hear the music, which is so cool. And Carrie's all about it too. Super engaging to middle schoolers, super engaging to lots of different kinds of kids, but yes, definitely to middle schoolers too.
And created by kids.
Yes, yes, absolutely. Jamie was talking about the unboxing videos and said my son's teacher had them do unboxing videos of the standards. They had to put things in the box that represented their learning for a particular standard, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
I agree. And then Julie says, I plan to work with students over the summer to create video or to do creative video and podcast story walks along walking trails in our community. That's an interesting idea. I like that. That's good stuff. And then Kim also mentions Classcraft. It allows you to put your lessons into quests. Talk about using a game element right there. Very easy to set up. My fourth graders love it. So if they're doing activities in pursuit of completing a quest instead of just doing your assignments, that can be really, really, really good. And then Carrie says, yeah, good stuff. Carrie says strategy needed in GimKit adds a layer unlike the other games, which I totally agree with. Lots of love for GimKit here. Terry says GimKit is the best. The teacher can also use the power-ups on different students. I didn't realize that. That's so cool. And then Kathy says GimKit was created by a sophomore in high school who I think has since graduated or he's close to graduating. So cool. And I'm sure it is paying for his college. Yeah, I'm sure of that too, I think. So yeah.
I need to go to college.
Uh-huh. Yeah, absolutely. So
I want to go to college. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying.
Right, exactly. So we've covered a lot of ground here. Those are our 8 ways, and we've just touched on the first 3. We're going to be touching on a bunch of other ones on another live video. So if you're watching this now or on the replay, we're going to have a second video. If you're watching it live, come join us on Friday. We're going to be doing this again. If you're watching it on the replay, hey, it may be out there. So just look for the part 2 and you can go check that out. So that kind of wraps things up. Lots of lenses that you can look at things through. Les is still talking about GimKit.
I laugh because I'm a middle school teacher. I've done that. Like, sorry.
Which can be mean, but it is fun. So yeah, totally love that. So if you're watching this video, again, we thank you so much for joining us. If you're here for the live, thank you so much for joining us live. What's that?
Josh, who made GimKit, is not in college, which is, I have to be honest with you. If you don't need it to get a job and you are running a company, more power to you. If I had children, I would be more proud of that than getting to Harvard. You know?
Yep. Yeah, no, I totally agree. So anyway, like I was saying, to wrap this up, if you like these kinds of, no, you're good. If you like these kinds of live videos, please do subscribe on YouTube to the Ditch That Textbook YouTube channel. We're continuing to do lots of these videos. I'm so thankful to have Holly along with me to do this, so I don't just have to talk to myself. And then, of course, we get to pull all of you in, which is the most fun of all of it. You can also watch us live on Facebook, where some of you may be watching. Find Ditch That Textbook on Facebook, or what's the Infused Classroom link, Holly?
So just Infused Classroom on Facebook. You can find it easy. But today at 4, we're doing a short 10-minute EduSlam, which is like a slam. That's something you can use in your classroom tomorrow, and it will be on Adobe Spark. So that might be an interesting one if you want to join the group.
Yep, absolutely. So again, thank you so much for joining this video. We hope you found some good stuff and have something that you can start using in class right away. We'd love to see you on another video. So take care, and we'll see you next time.